Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our new edition of Big Brother 25 live feed spoilers. Today is day 35 in the house. We're a couple of days away from the latest eviction. What's going to happen? What is the state of the campaigning? Is Jag going to find himself evicted again, except he actually leaves?
Probably. I think your boy Jag is in some real trouble this time.
I'm starting to have a real opinion here about Jag in that I don't find myself in this position a lot with players on Big Brother where I really like Jag as a person. Like he seems like a really nice guy. I feel like
Mhm.
I would have a good time hanging out with him, but he's not a good player. I'm sorry. I really wanted him to be good at this game and be smart and strategic, but he can't help himself from getting himself into trouble constantly, and it makes me sad.
Listen, I had the same thing. I think it was 2 seasons ago with Ozza, where going into the season, I was just like, she's gonna play. Like she's gonna be here to play. And she seems like a really nice person. And yeah, into the season, I'm like, she is a really nice
Yeah.
person. However, she's not really playing, and that was the disappointment in it.
Well, okay, we'll talk about why Jag is in the predicament that he's in. All the other stuff that is going on in the house, there is a lot of sort of sitting up now for subsequent weeks. What's going on there? But before we do go forward here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. At the time that we are recording this, we are 19 subs away from 65,000 as we have been doing this for a very long time. It
Yeah.
is really exciting to be that close to this goal that we've sort of been thinking about for a long time. So if you guys want to help us get there, hit that subscribe button. We will be eternally grateful. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you. It's such a huge milestone. Like Matt said, we've been doing this a really long
Yeah.
time, and to even be this close to 65,000 subscribers is just it's amazing. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed and hit that subscribe
Yeah.
button. 19 people. That's how close we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so Big Brother. Cameron and Red were the initial nominees. Cameron won the veto. Of course, he's taking himself off the block. And now Jag is the replacement nominee, and he's likely to leave the game
Jag.
for reals.
Jag, if you leave the game, you can still be my friend. It'll be okay. But
Oh,
okay. Why Jag? So the thing is that Jag's made plenty of mistakes, but I think a part of what's going on here is also Suri and Jared's own fault because Jag had basically found out that Suri had told Jared about Matt's BB power of invincibility. And, she had acted previously like she and Matt were the only people who knew. And
mhm.
because of all of this, Jag lost trust in Suri. And, because ultimately this created this situation where because Jared said something that was too much, now Jag is in this situation where understandably he's starting to put two and two together and starting to figure some things out. And Suri, of course, doesn't want that to happen.
Yeah. And unfortunately, your boy Jag has started to sort of spread around that Suri was, being untrustworthy to Matt and to other people, which is putting a target on him. But really, him being a target is just this function of Cameron winning the veto. I mean, plus Suri is really close to Red, and it's just she doesn't want Red to leave. And since Cameron's won the veto, and here we are with Jag on the block, why would she want Red to go?
This is where we get into one of the more ridiculous subplots of the week, and there are a few ridiculous subplots of the week, but today is Red's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday, Red. And if it's your birthday, happy birthday to you too.
Red's apparently you can't get rid of somebody in Big Brother on or close to their birthday. This is a new rule that's come into Big Brother. This is sort of this like weird emotional argument, but it's just an excuse. It's just sort of like okay, you want to find a way to keep somebody in the game. You just argue, you don't want them to feel bad. You try to find some other sort of way to get around it. It's really just like you already said, Sari feels close enough to Red. Red feels close to Sari that it's a situation where him leaving doesn't make a ton of sense this week, including for some other reasons that we will get into a little bit later.
Okay, the other thing that's happening with Jag before he was put on the block is just he's talking way too much about gameplay. And I understand that you need to be talking about gameplay. You do need to be
Yeah.
making those connections. And for Jag, it just feels like he's unable to really get anybody to really listen to him, and that might be the motivation of why he's like, okay, this person isn't really getting it, so I'll try this person or go
Yeah.
here or talk here. Like, it feels like he's just in kind of a bad situation with that. He is talking too much gameplay with people. It's making him come across as shady, when in reality, I think it's just that he doesn't really have anyone that he's super solid with.
Yeah.
So he's trying his best to play as much game as he can to try to get somebody on his side, but it's just making him look shady when it's not really the case.
I'm going to do some irrational defending of Jag throughout this video. I'm prepared for the comments to be like, what are you doing, Matt? Well, actually, Jag did this. I understand all of that. But let's just go inside Jag's head for a minute here. He was just not technically evicted because he didn't leave, but it was a unanimous vote. And when
Yes.
that sort of situation happens, I think you get really, really paranoid. You start to overcorrect. You start to do some things that are not good for your game because you don't want to be in that position again. And I think these other players just don't fully understand that because they didn't end up in a unanimous vote. But yes, Jag is doing way too much. Yes, Jag does not know how to stop talking game to people, and he talks so much to the point that you talk in circles, and if you just talk and talk and talk, people are gonna start tuning you out. That's not just a rule in Big Brother, by the way. That's like a rule in life. If you're like walking down the street with somebody and they just never stop talking, at a certain point you're gonna be like, "Can I hear somebody else's voice?" Okay, so this is the other, I think, real issue with Jag, and this is just a reminder to everybody of just like how good Sari is. Not that I don't think we need to tell everybody out there that Sari is a really good player and she's mopping the floor with a lot of these people.
Yep.
But she understands that Jag is sort of like one of the real people who can be a glue for Matt, Blue, Corey, America, like all these people potentially getting together. And without him, there's just less of a chance that a lot of these people could ever team up because, you know, we got the Blue Jared showmans and Sari and Matt are closer, and like there's much better chances that they could sort of pull some people in. And if Jag is there, then it starts to become a little bit riskier.
Okay, so at the Seven Deadly Sins meeting on Sunday night, Blue suggested that Jag be the replacement nominee, and he agreed, thinking that it would like help him build some trust because people have gone that way with like, oh yeah, no problem. I'll go up. I'll be a pawn or I'll be a
Yeah.
whatever. Anything that can build trust with you as I'm a team player. I'll show I'm a team player.
Yeah.
That really only seems to work like, I don't know, 30% of the time. Like a lot of time pawns go home. Like
Yeah.
it happens so often. And you know, she and Matt still don't know that he's actually the target, but the plan is to tell them right before the eviction.
Okay, so round two of my defense of Jag, because it's so easy to dunk on Jag right now, being like, okay, why would you agree to go on the block? It wasn't like he was like, hey, everybody, put me on the block. Blue suggested this. And if you're in a room with a lot of other people and somebody suggests something like that, it's really hard to be like, no, I don't want to do that for you guys. I don't want to go on the block again. Yes, he should have said that, but I think it is a harder position to be in that sort of moment where you're just sort of like, okay, well, I'm going to have to put my trust in people eventually, and it's going to be right now. I mean, they were going to find a way to get him on the block anyway. Like, let's be honest here. It's not like this is the reason that he's sitting there. It's just we're just all sort of shaking our heads and just being like, why did you ever say this? If you're going to go on the block, at least just have some dignity, Jag.
Yeah, he was in a really tough spot. You know, there's too many people around for him to say no, but at the same time, he had a really good reason to say no, which is, I was just on the block. I was going to be voted out unanimously.
Yeah.
Can you pick somebody else this week? I feel like I deserve a week of safety. After the House was just
Yeah.
unanimously going to vote me out, I don't feel safe doing this. That way, if they were going to put him up, he knew he was the target. He needed at that point to just be like, nah, not this week. If you guys are going to target me, just say it to my face at this point. Just let me know I'm going because I'm telling you I'm not okay with it. So if you put me up, I'm not a pawn and I
Yeah.
know it.
You could have done something. Just something. But
But we're in this situation now where Jag feels that he's safe.
it's oh, okay. There's so much here that is just really chaotic, really difficult because there is the you're gonna leave the blue and matte part of this till later. Like that's a really big risk because if you do something like that, you're setting it up so that if they later on feel like they're the last to know,
Mhm.
that could cause problems later on. That could cause them to open their eyes and be like, okay, we're really not in the core of anything. And I also I also wonder this long term, like, Jag being duped, thinking that he's safe, like all this stuff. That's fine to do right now because we're early enough in the game. But if you're in the jury spot and like these people are going to jury and you're duping people till the last minute and
Mhm.
making them feel stupid, we all remember that this is how Dan lost. Like this is how a lot of people, Survivor and Big Brother, by the way, lose. Is
This
that
is how Paul lost too.
yeah, you don't want people to leave the game thinking that they're dumb. You don't want them to feel like I've been played. You guys made me for a fool unnecessarily. Like that's the thing. It's fine to evict people, but you don't want them to just feel like silly and that they're being clowned on the way out the door.
Yeah, for sure. Jury, management is the most important part of this game. They are voting for you. Making it to the end is only one part of it. But if the people going out the door feel like you duped them or made them look like a clown and
Yeah.
drive around the clown car right out the door, they're
Yeah.
not going to vote for you. And I know feel like, oh, you should just look at the game and, not be bitter jurors. But, people are people. They're going to feel things and they're going to
Yeah.
feel what they want. And if they feel like you made them look like a fool unnecessarily, then they're not going to give you the money.
Yeah. Like of course there's a good chance that Jag will end up finding out at some point. Like he might be told before eviction, and if that's the case, good on him. He gets to leave without some sort of blind side. Like
Mhm.
I hope Matt figures it out soon, but the biggest issue with Matt, and I'm starting to just get out on Matt, it's just he just thinks that whatever Riley said weeks ago. Here we are talking about Riley again, weeks after she's been evicted, but he acts like Riley's truth is gospel. And Riley was evicted because Riley was a terrible player. And you just going along with the idea that I'm trusting Sari because Riley said so. Just play your own game, man. Riley is not here.
Okay, let's talk about America.
Yeah.
So, Jag still thinks that he's safe, and America would rather that Jag stay, but she isn't going to stick her neck out for him. She doesn't want him going around talking too much, throwing her name out, and getting her in more danger. And, it's a delicate balancing act because Jag needs to campaign and do what he can to stay.
Yeah.
He shouldn't not be talking. But as we saw over the weekend, if he talks too much, people start to think he's really shady. He
Yeah.
should have just held out until now.
Where things might get interesting with this vote, and this is where we get to the most ridiculous subplot of the week, is the Cameron and Red falling out. The Southern Bros no longer being Southern Bros anymore
Mhm.
because Cameron threw Red under the bus, said a bunch of stuff. Red finds out about it. They have the most passive aggressive fight I think I've ever seen. And I say this as somebody who's grown up in the South, where I've seen like real life examples of this a lot, where Southern people don't always want to just like say what's on their mind, and they'll just sort of look at you and be, well, what do you think is on my mind? Like, why do you think I'm upset? And then you just go back and forth and you just talk in these circles. But it is this sort of situation where the bros are not bros anymore. They had a Labor Day party last night too. I think something happened with Cameron, and Cameron was just like sitting alone by himself for a big chunk after that. But this is all important, I think, game wise, just because if everybody thinks that Cameron and Red are not close anymore,
Yep.
it gives another incentive to keep Red in the game over Jag, because then it's like, okay, well, you're not really keeping Cameron and Red together if they're not friends, if they're not allies anymore. So it's fine to have them both in the game. Like if one of them comes out in the diary room and it's just like, oh, this is all a trick, we actually still like each other, and we're just, I don't think that's what's going on, but I don't, my brain might explode if that happens.
But there's also the chance that they can make up and
Yeah,
move forward on things. Friends fight all the time. And especially in a house where it's kind of like they're kind of on their own a
yeah,
little bit. I mean, they may need to find a way to like squash the beef. Friends fight all the time and they make up. But I mean, Saria's already starting to plant some seeds with Red, and some other people that Felicia is untrustworthy is not where I thought things were going to go with these two, but this is where they're seemingly going. And Felicia did out the fake Legend 25 alliance to America.
okay. So the thing is, I think Suri realizes, and I'm just assuming that Suri's final two here is her son, because like why would it not be? As frustrated as we may all be with Jared, it's still her son. Like
Mhm.
that's who she's gonna want to take. I think Suri is already starting to look a little bit down the road at some of the people who may eventually need to be targets at some point if Suri is going to get to the final two, presumably with Jared. Felicia's got to go. And I think your girl Felicia still has some time to find some other people, find some other
Yes.
avenues.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, after Jag goes, Cameron's most likely the next target, and then America soon after. I think Felicia still has more game in her with Suri, and there's time to turn around again. Like just because Felicia has said a couple things doesn't mean that her and Suri can't work it out.
Yeah.
They're building a friendship.
Yeah, and that's important for this part of the game. And you need to sort of find a way to nurture these relationships, and at the very least, if you're Suri, make sure that Felicia thinks that it's fine. Even if it's not fine, make sure that she thinks that. And if you're Felicia and you want to go after Suri, you end up doing the same thing. Like I don't want to see the two of them turn on each other yet, but I think it's a fascinating thing to watch long term here. So
Mhm.
finally overnight, this Legend 25 alliance, and I can't speak enough about how dumb an alliance name that is. Like I really hate it. But like, okay, so they have a meeting, and there's a lot of reassurances that they can work together moving forward. Everybody's just trying to cover their tracks here in case Cameron ends up winning. Like America actually may be pro Cameron winning HOH, not because she likes Cameron. Let's make that very, very clear. Cameron is not likable in any sense for a wide array of different reasons. But I think there is a sort of idea that maybe Cameron would end up potentially at this point going after Sari and Izzy, which is kind of a big thing to really hope for at this point, because Sari is just so good at just like misting people. Like
Mhm.
I this is where, since we're 20 minutes into this is where we need to talk to America a little bit. The person, not all of you guys. Okay, it's time. It's time to play and play hard. Like I really like America. I like watching her, but this is where you can't think anymore of, okay, I want to get to jury, or I want to get to this spot. And I'm not saying she's necessarily doing that, but I think if America really wants a chance at this, she's got to win the next HOH. Like there has to be some sort of big move, because even if you get Sari on the block, who's going to vote Sari out of the game? Like you have to, this is going to have to be a whittling away process. This is going to have to take some time. Maybe you end up having to get rid of an Izzy first, or something like that.
Yeah, you have to take away the people that will keep Sari in the house so that when you do get her on the block, she actually goes.
Yeah, like I like Sari. I would
Mhm.
love if Sari ends up winning at the end of the day, but I don't want it to be easy. And that's where I'm coming from. I want America versus Sari, because I think both of them are likable. I think both of them
Mhm.
are smart. And I think just having a good old-fashioned Big Brother battle is something we all really need.
Yes.
All right, well, we will tie this video up now, but be sure to hit that subscribe button. Get us to 65,000. We're so excited about potentially hitting that goal. Thank you to all of our
Thank you.
patrons for your support, and we'll see you here next time.